Hey friends, we're here with our June 2021 budget update. Now this is our real family budget for our family of 8. My husband and I have 6 kids and we live in Northern California. We use YNAB, that's YNAB, it stands for You Need a Budget, for our budgeting software, our budgeting app here. And if you want to learn more about that, there's a link in the description below that will get you a free month of that. Okay, let's just dive in. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to get back to you.
We will start off with the things we spent during the month of June. Now, what we spent during the month of June is money that we earned in May. We always save up a month worth of income and leave it sitting there so that we know exactly on June 1st how much we have to spend for that month.
So if you can see right here, this is the money that we earned in June, and then I subtracted out at the end of the month, and then we use that for July. So we'll talk a little bit about our income at the end. We'll just start with our spending first.
All right, so we start with tithing. That's a 10% tithe on our earned income, and that's $914.68. And then fast offerings is just another thing that we do to a donation to help out folks who are not as fortunate as we are. We get everything from God and figure out how to give something back to Him and to His children.
Okay, now for our monthly bills. Our first one is our mortgage. This is a 15-year mortgage on our house, and it includes our principal, our interest, our property tax, our homeowner's insurance, and it's $2,369 a month. Now, at the bottom of our budget, we have a category that's mortgage extra, where we're paying extra toward the principal. That's our big financial goal that we're working toward right now. But this is just the basic monthly mortgage payment. Car insurance was $106 this month. It's actually $122, but we had some left in that was remaining in the category, so only $106 coming out of this month's budget. Electricity, $203. Now, this is super low, at least for us in our area, this is super low. We haven't, at this point, we hadn't used our air conditioning at all. We just, open the windows at night when it cools down and just use blinds and blackout curtains and strategies to keep the house livable without using tons of electricity, because if we were to use...
You could easily pay $600 or $700 in electricity in a hot month otherwise.
Air conditioning gets really expensive. We also are drying our clothes on the clothesline. They honestly dry faster on the clothesline at this time of year than they do in the dryer. And
by the time the last piece of clothing is up, the first one is already dry.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous how hot and dry it is here. Water, we put $70 in this month. We're not sure what our bill is going to look like. It comes every other month, and we've been watering our big garden. So we put half of it this month of what we assume it will be, and then next month we'll take care of the rest. Internet is $70 a month. Trash, $40 is half of what we pay for trash. That bill comes every other month. Cell phones, $50. We each have a cell phone that costs $25 a month. Our cell phones are through Visible. Visible
is a Verizon subsidiary, so it actually runs on the Verizon network and is owned by Verizon, but it's a whole lot cheaper than Verizon. For $25, we get all the data and
unlimited,
everything else that we need. And so there is, for people who are in large cities, I've heard that it isn't quite as fast as Verizon because they deprioritize the Visible users if there are a bunch of Verizon users and they're running low on cell space. So we haven't ever noticed a slowdown when we're using it. We've used it basically across the country, although it's true we don't spend a lot of time in big cities when we're crossing the country. We just drive through to go to more interesting places. We've loved it. It's been almost 2 years now since we've been using Visible.
If you want to try it out, we have a code that will get you your first month for $5, just $5. So I'll leave that down below if you want to try it out, see how it works for you. Because, man, if you can get your cell phone bill down, that will save you money every single month that you can put toward more important things. Next is piano lessons. That's $120 a month. That's for our oldest. And she also has braces, which are $61 a month.
Okay, everyday expenses. We buy food every month. This month it was $503 worth of food for our family of 8. We also are starting to get some food out of the garden, so that's nice. But $500 is about what we spend each month. Some people say, how on earth do you spend that little for a family of your size in the area you live in? It's not because we don't eat very much, I promise. But Stephanie's superpower is spending very little when she buys things. We have lots of friends who spend double or sometimes even triple that on food. But she knows how to do it well. If you're interested, she actually has a course called Grocery Budget Hero, where she goes through the things that she does, the planning and the places to buy things, and it's amazing. As people have been through the course, I've watched sometimes, and see how people can spend less, even though it seems like there's no other option for you. But that's available. We can put a link down below for that too. So Grocery Budget Hero, spend less on groceries. Fuel. This was a really high fuel month for 2 reasons. One, because in California, the fuel prices go up during the summer because there's a different blend of fuel that's required during the summer for emissions. And we drove a lot. We took a road trip and spent a lot of time in the car.
We went to Utah and saw Arches National Park and Bryce Canyon and Zion National Park and visited some family. Fantastic. So we did a lot of driving.
So $638 is more than we usually spend, but we were having fun. Household miscellaneous for this month is way higher than it usually is. We try not to put too many things into our miscellaneous category because then we don't know what we're spending on things. But we did replace a Kitchenaid mixer that...
Oh my goodness, it was driving me crazy. It was a 5-quart one that I'd had since, I don't know, since we first got married or something. And the bowl hooks into the stand, like the bottom of the stand, and every time I was mixing something, the bowl would pop out. So I had to stand there and babysit it and catch it when the bowl popped out and turn it off real quick. Oh, it was driving me bonkers.
So we got a larger one that has the bowl fastened on, and then it lifts up toward the
mixer thing.
Toward the mixer instead of having the tilt mount on the...
And the bonus is that because it's bigger, I can do a lot of recipes double or triple or quadruple that I couldn't fit in my 5-quart one. So very happy with that purchase.
So most of that household miscellaneous is a Kitchenaid mixer.
Oh, and Mike was the one who found and shopped for that. He found a refurbished one for, I think, like $280, which is like half of the price of a brand new
Don't buy a new one. Yeah.
So.
And it came brand new, basically. I couldn't even tell it had ever been opened. We spent $90 on clothing, which is more than we usually spend, but we were stocking up on
summer clothes and shoes that the kids needed.
$110 on animals. This is basically animal feed, so cat food, chicken food, dog food. And then we give the kids allowances each month. This is not money that's based on chores. We expect them to do chores, and they do lots of them. But we found it's really hard to keep track of chores and try to grade them and make sure that everybody did the chore to perfection. Or it's really hard to actually tie a monthly allowance to some sort of work performed by the kids. And so this is just money that they get as practice money. We require them to do some things with it. They're required to pay tithing to establish the habit. They're required to save some of it to establish the habit. But they have some money to practice with and see what they want to do. The kids are actually really interested in investing because they realize when they get a savings account statement and they've earned 3 cents in interest, it's not that exciting. But if you put money into the market, and this last year it's been roaring, so they're excited to see money growing actually, which is a good thing for them to learn. And we had a few dollars for homeschool, getting ready for next year.
Okay, sinking funds. These are the categories where we put money in each month, well, most months, and it kind of accrues until we need it. So medical, dental. So we figure if we put $400 in a month, that will pretty much cover our max out of pocket should we reach that limit. This month we spent $41 on medical expenses. Car repair, we've kind of stopped adding to because we have nearly $4,000 sitting there. In July, we'll be getting some new tires, but right now we aren't spending anything. Christmas, we put $100 in each month. We spent $57 this month getting some gift cards that we'll be using at Christmas time. Life insurance, we put $75 each month, and then by November we'll have what we need for those premiums when they're due. Disability insurance is $185 a month, and that will cover a good portion of Mike's income should he be injured and not be able to work as an attorney. Birthday and gifts, we didn't put any this month. Normally we would put 40. We didn't put any. We didn't spend any. Right now there's $252 there. Car registration and smog, we didn't put any in that category. Right now there's $144 sitting there. Our family fund, this is what we're using to fund our vacations this summer, our road trips. Vacation makes it sound a lot more fancy than driving a lot of miles with a lot of kids. But we put $300 and we spent about $392, leaving us $508. So we have some more trips planned later in the summer, and so we'll be adding to that in the coming months. Home projects, didn't do anything there. Garden, we bought some more sweet potato slips and spent $20 on that and have about $200 sitting there. Preparedness, we didn't add to or use anything for to grow our family's emergency preparedness supplies or anything like that.
Just a note on the sinking funds. People will ask, well, do you have separate accounts for these? How do you manage that? These are all in, everything that you see here is just in our checking account. We actually don't spend any time looking at that checking account balance except for reconciling, because we have YNAB here to tell us what that money inside the account is dedicated to. So this $2,058.39 in medical dental, that's just dedicated to medical dental, and we leave it there in that one account, but we know because of the way we've categorized it that that's what it's sitting there for.
So a lot of people do use separate accounts for each of these sort of categories, but for us, we've just found that it's really a lot easier to just have our one checking account, and then we always just look at YNAB before we make a purchase or to record our purchase, rather than look at our checking account balance. Like, that balance doesn't mean anything. This right here, this budget, that's what is meaningful, because I know that there's $2,000 that are earmarked just for medical and dental, and if I'm following all these numbers and recording our activity and reconciling the accounts, then I know that this is true and I can trust this.
All right, down to investing. So as far as money that's tracked here, we put in each of the kids' 529 accounts. That's a college savings account for each of the kids. That's $25 a month, and that's not a huge amount, but it's all right. They're still young, and it's not our highest priority right now. You'll note that we have $150 dedicated as a monthly amount. $125 came out this month because our youngest baby, we just opened the account for him, and the recurring payments hadn't started. They'll start in July. IRA for Stephanie, she also has a Roth IRA. That's $500 a month that comes out, which reaches her maximum contribution of $6,000 a year. I have pension withdrawals from my paycheck at work, so that comes directly out and never makes it into our budget because it doesn't show up on our check. It doesn't ever get in any checking account.
Okay, we just have a few little items here. Our tax planning and preparation is $90 a month. We have a category for self-employment tax savings, but we're not actually saving anything for that right now. And then prepaid tithing, this is just where we're keeping track of the tithing that we pay up here each month. If you've been around watching our videos for a while, you know that at the end of December last year, we prepaid $16,000 in tithing so that we could
bundle the deduction basically for that tax year. That way we can have a smaller amount that we pay taxes on because we had a large itemized deduction. This next year in 2021, we'll take the standard deduction and not include any tithing in there because we already paid the tithing. So basically we're paying the tithing 2 years, 2 years worth of tithing in 1 year, so that we can save, in total it's about $3,000 in taxes over the 2 years.
So this is just where we're keeping track of how much we've paid, because if we go over $16,000, then we actually need to start paying because $16,000 was how much we prepaid. Anyway, moving on to
the exciting one, mortgage extra. So this is where we put money that isn't used for anything else toward the mortgage principal. And this month we put $639 extra into the mortgage. Our goal is to pay off the entire mortgage in the next couple of years. We're not on track to do that right now, but we're looking forward to seeing how we can increase our payments in the next few years so that they're greater than they were over the last couple of years. Hopefully we earn more and we can dedicate more to the mortgage.
And either way, we are making way more progress, have made way more progress than we would have made had we not set a goal at all.
If we stuck ourselves to the 15-year plan, it would be really disappointing to look
and
at
the
our
thing
mortgage
is,
statement.
I don't think we would have anything else to show for it. We would probably just, I don't know, spend more on clothes or groceries or something else. But because we have this goal, it motivates us to spend less in other areas so that we can pay this off. And we will have something to show for our sacrifices over the last several years. Okay, I'll end by talking about what we earned last month. Most of it was the same as normal. We have our monthly renter, our regular renter, and Mike's paycheck was the same normal COVID paychecks.
But there's an extra $4,000, just a little over $4,000 in there, because the way the state handled the expected budget deficit during the first big COVID year was they said we're going to pay state employees 9% less, and we're going to give them 2 days off a month, which is 9% of the time. And so we'll save money that way by not having to spend so much. But all of these employees accrued a bunch of time, and at the end of the first fiscal year, so June 30th rolls around and the state realizes they have way more money than they expected. The stock market has been booming, and California's tax base is heavily correlated to stock market performance because high earners pay most of the taxes. And so they decided that they would offer a cash out for people who had accumulated a bunch of leave, basically kind of pay retroactively that time that they took off. So I liquidated some of my accumulated leave from COVID, and that turned into just
an
over
extra
$4,000 that we put into our budget for this month.
And this money here is money we're budgeting in July. It's already July when we're recording this, and we've already budgeted out those $12,000 into all of these same categories, leaving a big chunk of it going toward our mortgage. So come back next month and we will show you what we did in July. If you have any questions, just leave them below. If this is the kind of video you like, subscribe and we'll give you more of the same. Have a good one.
See you next time.